Hello everyone and welcome back to the Roller Coaster Maniac channel. And in today's video, I am going to discuss what I would personally do if I owned my home park, Six Flags Great America. Now this is totally unscripted, this is low effort editing, so please bear with me today. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. So, starting off with our current year 2025, what I would personally do is start by removing both log flumes and the go-karts. This is because all of them that I just mentioned are older rides and they don't really serve a purpose anymore. And it's just simple stuff like that that we don't really need in the park anymore. Secondly would be split up County Fair into aviation and demonic themed areas. This would be because, well, for one, County Fair isn't really County Fair anymore, it's more of X-Flight, Eagle, and now Wrath and Demon. So splitting it up and not really having County Fair anymore would be a pretty decent idea in my opinion. Thirdly, I'd add Max Force effects back and then give it a new lighting package. And then finally, just give Raging Bull some touch-ups and of course a new lighting package. So all in all, this year I wouldn't really do very much, but it'd be park improvements to spice it up before the 50th anniversary. And speaking of, next year would be absolutely insane if I personally owned the park. I'd start by repainting X-Flight over in the off-season, that's kind of like a no-brainer. That and Raging Bull both desperately need a repaint, and doing both of those this year and next season, well, technically in the off-season of this season, that would be a very smart move, and I don't think anyone really wants to lose out on Raging Bull or X-Flight during the 50th anniversary, so doing Raging Bull's repaint this year and X-Flights over in the off-season would just make sense. Next, there would be a new kids area in the log flume plot. That's why I would have gotten rid of the log flumes to put in a huge kids area that would feature a new Vekoma family launch going throughout the kids area. Since it's the 50th, flat rides would get updates and repaints. Yukon Territory, since this new kids area is assumingly themed to Snoopy, I would overhaul Yukon Territory. There would be a new Ferris wheel in the place of Mardi Gras Hangover. Wizard would get a repaint. Skytrek Tower gets another overhaul in the off-season. Kidsopolis gets removed. Demon gets a repaint. And then I would announce a parking garage project that would take about 10 years to complete, but it'd start right over by Hurricane Harbor. So moving on to 2027, what I would do is rebrand the park in the off-season, maybe have something like Chicago's Great America, Illinois' Great America, Gurney's Great America kind of wouldn't work, but something like that. And then I'd remove Lobster, which is the octopus style ride over by Demon and now over by Wrath of Rakshasa. And then I would retheme and repaint whatever Goliath to some type of aviation themed thing. It could be like a Falcon, it could be something like that. Get like a huge new overhaul for the ride and theme it out. And I personally think that would be a great thing for the park, because with the direction that the current president is taking it, I think that would be a great thing to do, and it, like I've been saying, it just makes sense. In 2028, to replace the Lobster, I would add a new Skyscreamer or Windseeker, whatever you want to call it, in its place. I would move the Flash Pass Center to DC Universe, where I don't exactly know, but we'd probably find a spot, especially if we'd remove the water rides over there. It'd be able to fit somewhere in there. And then there would be 3 rides that bite the dust. 2 of them would be announced, 1 of them would not. The 2 that'd be announced are Roaring Rapids and Condor. Why we'd announce Condor? I don't know. I know a couple people who really enjoy the ride, so might as well, send it off nice. And then there would be a quiet removal of Dark Knight. Just one day it's open, one day it's not. And then slowly but surely, you'd take down the ride, and there you go. It'd be Great Adventure all over again. But 2028 isn't really that eventful, so let's move on to 2029, which is where things get very interesting. So, I'd remove the food court and replace it with a bridge into the former go-kart plot, and by now the go-kart plot would be sitting vacant for a long time, and people are just kind of like, coaster, 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 nope, footpath. And don't forget the flat ride package that go around with it, so then you can get a bottleneck right there. How great. And then, to move the food court, because, food's important, you'd move it to where Katsopolis used to be. And then, finally, the Intamin Impulse would bite the dust. After how many years of rumors? Probably by that point, in like 12 years of rumors, it's finally done. So, bye-bye Flash. And then 2030, an insane year. I'm calling it another insane year because I would remove Demon. Now, there's been a lot of removals that I've done, but not a ton of them have been replaced with something new, but this one would immediately be replaced with something new. Because in 2031, I'd replace it with a Mach Striker or Mach Extreme Spinner, because those coasters, adding that into our lineup would be, oh my god. Imagine a 1, 2, 3, 4 punch of Wrath of Rakshasa, a Mach Striker, Extreme Spinner, whatever, Max Force, and Goliath. That would be insane, and the amount of people that you'd attract just because of that would be nuts. And then we move on to 2032. Man, we're moving quick. Anyway, I'd remove more rides, and that'd be Viper and Superman. And we'd just kind of overhaul Eagle, not the routine maintenance that it's been getting lately, just a full-on overhaul. Basically, it'd be a hybrid at this point, because call up RMC. It's gonna be bad at that point. I don't think the ridership's gonna do great by 2032, but this is just a random teenager on the internet voicing his opinion on if he owned an amusement park, a full-on amusement park, so just watch it for entertainment, huh? So for 2033, Viper's removal would make sense because we'd replace it with a GCI Woody, and then we'd remove Joker for a restaurant. Well, why are there so many removals? Because a lot of the rides from former Six Flags are kind of filler and we don't need them. So, get out. Moving on to 2034, it'd just be a quiet year. For the first time in a long time, it'd just be no additions, no subtractions, just let the park operate as normal. And that'd move on to 2035. That would be the addition of a huge new Intamin hypercoaster spanning from Superman to Roaring Rapids. That is why I'd remove Roaring Rapids, remove Superman, all those rides in that side of the park. All of them would be replaced by a huge Intamin hyper. Now, would this be the best in the park? Because of the Mach Striker, Extreme Spinner, whatever? I don't know, it definitely could be a close contender. Or could definitely be our standout attraction, but I'm honestly not sold on what place it would rank in the park. Finally, we're getting to the final, about 6 years left. So, 2036, new Vekoma Super Boomerang, themed to Flash, and it'd be replacing, Flash in DC Universe. And then, outside of the park, the parking garage project that I spoke of a little bit ago, that would be complete, and the shut up dryer. Anyway, the dismantling of the old parking lot would, begin. 2037, oh god, this is so I would remove Hurricane Harbor and replace it with a hotel. Yep, indoor water park, all that stuff, trying to compete with Great Wolf Lodge across the street. Would it be smart? Would it probably fail? Yeah, but would I do it? It's a risk that I definitely take, but like I've been saying throughout the video, I'm only a teenager and I would not trust myself as the head of Great America. Anywho, in 2038, because you announce so much, you take a final rest year. 2039, do something somewhere in the park. Flat ride, like dark ride, something small. 2040, the hotel would open up along with a giant giga coaster, which would be replacing a part of the parking lot. Where exactly in the parking lot? No clue. It probably, honestly, I think would be a smart idea was putting it in a part of Hurricane Harbor and kind of letting it span across the current front entrance and then building up from there. And then finally, okay, that is the end of my yap session. If you stayed the entire time just letting me yap your ear off, thank you so much, because I appreciate that a lot. If you didn't care for this video that much, I don't blame you, I wouldn't either. And I am done yapping. I need to edit the video and I need to go to bed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, do all the normal YouTube algorithm things, and enjoy this clip of Max Force on October 31st, Halloween. Okay, anyway, bye bye.